Welcome to Christian Talk with Eric-Thompson, a thoughtful podcast helping Christians navigate life. A podcast for Christ, covering faith, family, political issues, using God's Word, the Bible. The victory is ours. Let our light shine before others so they may glorify our Father in heaven. Welcome to Christian Talk with Eric-Thompson.
Hi, welcome to another Christian Talk podcast. Thank you so much for joining me. It's Tuesday, April 12th, 2022. Just got back from our trip to Oklahoma and back. Drove both ways, so had a lot of time to think. I'll share some of those thoughts with you here in a minute. If you want to get a hold of me, you can head over to the podcast website, christiantalk.life. christiantalk.life. There's a contact form on there if you want to fill it out to ask me a question, and I can answer it on the podcast, or you can download some of the other podcasts or check out the articles. On this podcast, we're going to get to Genesis 33 here in a minute. But I was thinking about it. You know, I know pretty much who's working at the Starbucks in my local area here in Central California. I know some of the people at the grocery store, and I know the streets and when to go out, what not to go out, the traffic and all that. But when I go out of town and I go to several states, the first time I come to a city in a different state, I don't know anybody, and I don't know much at all, except for maybe a couple searches on my smartphone. So, and I don't know anybody. So I'm kind of lost. I don't have a network. I don't have anyone to rely on if I get lost. It's not like that with God. Psalm 139, David wrote this. Where can I go from your spirit? Where can I flee from your presence? If I go up to heaven, you're there. And if I make my bed in the depths of hell, you're there. And if I rise on the wings of the dawn, and if I settle on the far side of the sea, even there your hand will guide me. Your right hand will hold me fast. David did not have the Holy Spirit like we do. But yet he's saying, God, because you're omnipresent, because you're everywhere, and because you love me, and because I'm a man after your own heart, even if I go to hell or the farthest points in the earth, you're there, and your hand will guide me there, and your right hand will hold me fast. So take comfort in that. Like Romans 8 says, nothing can separate us from the love of God. Jesus said, I will never leave you nor forsake you. And as David says in Psalm 139, 7 through 10, wherever I go, God, your hand will guide me, and your right hand will hold me fast. Now, James even talks about that we should rejoice when we go through trials. You're like, how is that? Well, James 1, verse 2. Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work. In other words, don't always ask God, get me out of here. They were mean to me for 10 seconds at work and I need relief. Get me out of here because they're making fun of me. James is like, let the trial finish its work so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything. If any of you lacks wisdom, you should ask God, who gives generously to all without finding fault, and it will be given to you. But when you ask, you must believe and not doubt, because the one who doubts is like the wave of the sea, blown and tossed by the wind. That person should not expect to receive anything from the Lord. Such a person is double-minded and unstable in all they do. So what do these mean? Wherever you go, God is there guiding. and available. And even when we go through trials, which God knows, and a lot of the times he orchestrated, seek him in the storm. Seek God always. And when you go through trials and the Lord is letting you, then embrace it and say, Lord, grow me up. Teach me what I am supposed to learn in this trial. Sometimes we have to go through the same trial, same test, because we keep failing it. Because God's still trying to purge something out of us. Could be our pride. Listen to the Lord in the trial and count it joyful that God actually loves you enough that he wants to mature you in the relationship with him and with your calling on earth. Because we want to be pleasing to our Father in heaven. The people that cannot be pleased with our Father in heaven are the people, and I would dare say, a majority of the world. Their father is the devil himself, Lucifer. So let me unpack this for you real quick. There's verses all over the place. But what happened is when Lucifer was kicked out of heaven, like we see in Ezekiel, Jesus says he saw Lucifer fall. And a third of the angels went with him, and those are the demons on the earth. If you remember that it took an angel 3 weeks with the help of Michael to actually get to Daniel to give him an answer to his prayer because he was fighting with the king of Persia in the demonic world. Then understand that, because do you remember when Jesus was taken up to the top of the temple and taken to the highest peak in the world, and Satan actually said, if you worship me, bow down, I'll give you all this. And Jesus didn't say you don't have that authority, because the devil does until Jesus reclaims the title deed. In Revelation 19, he comes back and conquers. So when you think about it, people around you, people on the news, people in Washington, D.C., people in Russia, Moscow, China, Beijing, the world is led by their flesh, their eyes, their pride, and they're being tempted and prodded and directed by the father of all lies, Lucifer himself. Now, the world thinks this is crazy talk, but they also think that the cross is foolishness. So when we're going through the Bible, just keep that in mind, that there'll be times in your walk when we're going through trials, like it says in James, and we're embracing it, that you may have people that are on social media or people that are around you that are really mocking and really challenging you on your faith. Just keep in mind, Jesus said, don't cast your pearls before the swine. Be in prayer and prepared, but if people want to try to trounce on your faith and mock, not because they're hoping to get an answer that they can consider, simply to be demonstrative or cruel. Don't throw your pearls. Don't, let me share the gospel with you as you guys are throwing urine on me or whatever. That's an extreme, but just embrace what God is doing. Be prepared to give an answer and use discernment. Because the people that are rejecting Christ, like it says in Romans 1, they get turned over. Their father is the devil, and so they do his bidding. And like Jesus says, here's an example. John 12:31 through 33. Now is the judgment of this world. Now the ruler of this world will be cast out. Jesus said, and I, if I'm lifted up from the earth, I will draw people to myself. He said to the disciples, signifying what kind of death he would die. Down in John 8:44 through 47, Jesus, speaking with the religious leaders, said, "You are of your father, the devil, and the desires of your father you want to do. He was a murderer from the beginning. He does not stand in the truth because there's no truth in him. When he speaks a lie, he speaks from his own resources, for he is a liar and the father of it. But because I tell you the truth, you do not believe me. Which of you," Jesus is asking them, "which of you convicts me of sin? And if I tell you the truth, why do you not believe me? He who is of God hears God's words. Therefore, you do not hear because you are not of God." The entire world is born with an Adamic nature, Adam's sin nature in us. So we're sinners from birth. As we get older, we start to get this general revelation that God is real, and then basic understanding that God is real. But then those who are the elect get a call, and then we're given the faith to believe, and then we believe and we confess. But to the world, they know they shouldn't steal, they shouldn't fornicate, they shouldn't lie. But everybody's doing it. Now you can change your genders and make up your own pronouns and mock people that want to be heterosexual. Because their flesh, their eyes, their lust, everything is being driven by their own nature, but they also are in a world that's ruled by Satan. So just keep that in mind as we're seeing the world, as we're seeing schools and the government and everything that used to make sense from a law and order liberty position is now under attack. And the governments are setting up around the world, influenced, even controlled by Satan, for no God needed. Let's have big government. The government is God. The government can fix the problems. And because that's what made sense to me, driving across the country, going into different cities, meeting nice people over here, coming back to my state of California, which is in the abyss, and you're just seeing how the government can control and affect the mindset of the people. And you can tell the ones that are obedient unto the state, and then you can see the Christians that are saying, absolutely not. I'm going to lift Jesus up. I'm not lifting up the government. Let's go over to Genesis 33. Before we do that, let me tell you about my first sponsor. If you listen on a regular basis, this will sound familiar. Hopefully you've already made the switch if you're new. About a year and a half ago, my wife and I were tired of having huge cell phone bills that were inconsistent, up and down. If I went over on my data, I got charged a lot, and I got tired of it. I had already left AT&T. I thought T-Mobile was the answer. Well, I went over to Pure Talk USA, which you guys would go to gopuretalk.com, gopuretalk.com, and you put a promo code in, which I've set one up for you guys. It's Bible. You put that in, you'll get 50% off your first month of service. But here's what's nice. When you go to gopuretalk.com, you're going to see a red line through the pricing because you're getting the 50% off the first month off the regular rates, which are about 50% of what you've been paying with Verizon or T-Mobile or AT&T anyway. Then you choose your packages. They're going to mail you your new SIM cards because you get to keep your current phones. You don't have to buy new phones. You keep your phone numbers, so you don't have to switch your phone numbers. You put in the new SIM cards, you turn your phones back on, it says Pure Talk at the top, and then guess what? You're still going to have the same number of bars because you're on the same 5G network you were before. Same amount of coverage. Same quality hotspot or even better for some people. So everything stays the same except your bill is going to be around half. The average family saves over $800 a year. No brainer. Inflation's out of control, 9%, 40-year record highs. I mean, things are expensive. Trust me, in California, I cannot believe how expensive things are at restaurants and everywhere. So do what I did and hundreds of thousands of other people. Switch to Pure Talk USA. Our website is gopuretalk.com, promo code Bible to save 50% off. No contracts. You're not locked in, but you're going to be happy. I've been with them over a year and a half, and I could not be happier. My bill's been $62.23 for 3 phones for quite a while. Join me and save money. Think about it. Over 10 years, you're $8,000 to $10,000 by doing nothing different than switching. All right, here we go. Genesis 33. If you remember last time, Jacob left Laban. They had a parting of the way. And Jacob had sent his servants ahead because we go back to, I think it was 27 or 28 of Genesis. Rachel, Jacob and Esau's mother, helped Jacob steal Esau's blessing from their father Isaac. Isaac was old, couldn't see, was losing his faculties, but he still had his brain and his connection with God and could administer a blessing back then. So he told Esau, go out, because he was a hunter, go kill some game, bring it back, make it the way I like it, and I will bless you when I'm done. Rebecca. Rebecca is the mother of Esau and Jacob. Rachel is the wife of Jacob. Sorry about that. So what happened is Rebecca said, hey, Jacob, go ahead and I'm going to put some goat skins on you. Your dad's going to be tricked because he's going to feel your arm and your neck and he's going to think you're Esau and you're going to steal your brother's blessing. Here's the stew. I'm making it. Go in. Your dad likes it this way. And Isaac's going to bless you. And then I'll take care of the rest. He goes in. Esau goes, you sound like Esau, but you sound like Jacob, but you feel like Esau. So it works. He tricks his dad. His dad blesses him. Esau comes in immediately afterwards, finds out that Jacob had just stolen his blessing, just like he had taken his birthright. He didn't know that his mother, Rebecca, had helped him. But he said, Esau, I'm going to paraphrase. Dad, Isaac, is getting old. When he dies, I'm going to kill Jacob. He stole my birthright and he stole my blessing. Esau wasn't the kind of guy that would just loosely make a statement like that. Rebecca, the mother, said, Jacob, get away. She got Isaac to kick him out, to go back to his home country to find a wife. Now we're 20 years in the future. Jacob's coming back now, but now he's got wives and children and a lot of animals. So in 32, he had sent his servants ahead and said, look, I know last time I heard Esau wanted to kill me. So you guys go up there and Esau's Lord. You're going to say that your master Jacob wants to bless the Lord Esau, and here's a bunch of stuff because you're so great. Well, now Jacob in 33 verse 1, Jacob looks up and here is Esau. So he's coming. The animals didn't turn him away, and he's there with 400 men. I said the last Jacob knew was that Esau was going to kill him. So Jacob's, because remember, he's a conniver. Well, I tried kind of bribing him, buying him off. That didn't work. So Jacob, in kind of his heartless way, said, okay, they're still coming. So he took his female servants and children and put them in front of him. Then he put his wife Leah and her children behind them because he didn't really want Leah. He got tricked into marrying her. Then he put Rachel, who he loved, with her son Joseph in the back, and then he went ahead of all three groups. But he's thinking, well, if they kill me, they'd have to kill the servants and the children. Then they'd have to kill Leah and her children. And then maybe Rebecca and Joseph would be the last ones they could get to. You could tell where his priorities were. So it says in verse 3, Jacob goes out ahead and bows down 7 times. But Esau comes up and embraces him, and he throws his arms around his neck and kisses him, and they wept. And then Esau looked up and saw the women, children. Who are these? Jacob answered, these are the children God has graciously given your servant. Because Jacob is playing I'm just your servant. You are the man. And I'm going to be as weak as I need to be for you not to take your wrath out on me. One thing we can learn from here, though, is that God had softened Esau's heart. Because God did say through Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob that the world would be blessed, that the Messiah would come, and that Israel would be blessed specifically. So Jacob had to survive and thrive. So God did look out after Jacob, not because he deserved it, because he had made promises to Abraham, Isaac, and to Jacob himself. But down in verse 9, Esau's like, look, I got plenty, brother. Keep the sheep and the goats and the camels, and I'll keep all those for you. I don't need them. But here's Jacob. Oh, please. No. If I found favor in your eyes, accept this gift from me. Listen to this. For to see your face is like seeing the face of God. What? He wrestled with Jacob. He wrestled with, I believe, it was either an angel or Jesus Christ himself. And he's going to say now, because he's terrified and he's still trying to make Esau real buttered up, just seeing your face is like seeing the face of God. Now that you have received me favorably, please accept the present that was brought to you. For God has been gracious to me, and all I have, all that I need, I have. And because of Jacob's insistence, Esau accepted it. So now Esau's like, okay, let's be on our way. I'll accompany you. I will accompany you. Here's another Jacob deception. Jacob, it makes sense. Esau's got 400 men. Hey, I'm going to help you and your family. Well, make sure you're safe. You safely get back home. But Jacob said to him, this is a lie. My Lord knows that the children are tender and that I must care for the ewes and the cows. They are nursing their young. If they are driven hard one day, and all the animals will die. So let my Lord go on ahead of your servant, while I move along slowly at the pace of the flocks and herds before me, and the pace of the children, until I come to my Lord in Seir. Esau, go on back, and I will join you. Esau said, oh, okay, well, I'll leave you some men. No, you don't need to do that, Jacob said. Just let me find favor in the eyes of my Lord. So Esau started back to Seir. However, verse 17, Jacob, he went to Succoth. He went to another city where he built a place for himself, and he made shelters for his livestock. That's why it's called Succoth, shelters. It's like the tabernacle, like their annual, the tabernacle of booths, Sukkoth. Now, after Jacob came from Padan Aram, he arrived safely at the city of Shechem in Canaan, encamped within sight of the city. For 400 pieces of silver, he bought from the sons of Hamor, the son of Shechem, the plot of ground where he pitched his tent. And there he set up an altar, and he called it El Eloi Israel. So Sukkoth, if you hear that, it's the festival of booths. That means shelters. El Eloi Israel means basically means the God of Israel, or mighty is the God of Israel. That was the name of the altar that he set up. So Esau has been lied to again. He was deceived twice, and now he's lied, and he's not showing. Jacob's not showing up. But Jacob goes. He goes over to his city, and he buys some land by a city called Shechem. His deception and his lack of integrity, you're going to see in the next chapter, blows up in his face. Because Jacob, even through everything he's been through, just is still a work in progress. So my second point is this. Jacob is very slowly growing up in the Lord. He has faith, and he has no problem crying out for help and for God, and telling God his promises. He wrestled with God, and to him he said, I saw God face to face, so I'm still alive. But now he's moving next to some pagans, and he's not going to keep track of his one daughter. And because of that, and because of being around pagan people, it triggers a whole series. So the second thing to take away is that God is still working through Jacob, even though Jacob just can't get his act together. And in our lives, God is long-suffering. He's working through us. He's forgiving us. But once you've been called by God, like Jacob was, and with us, we're filled with the Holy Spirit. He didn't have that. But he had the presence of God. But God doesn't leave us nor forsake us. And even when we make mistakes, and even if we're struggling to get some maturity and to get our act together, God is still working all things out for good according to his purposes. It's just sad. We're going to see next time that people are going to die, and there's going to be a lot of problems because of Jacob's decision. All right. Thank you guys for listening. Hopefully those two takeaways are a blessing for you. My second sponsor, please go to mypillow.vip, mypillow.vip, up to 66% off. They've got huge sales right now on the Giza sheets. Check them out. Use the promo code FLS, 3 letters, FLS at checkout to save up to 66%. MyPillow.com, promo code VIP, promo code FLS. All right, guys, we will talk to you guys tomorrow. Again, the website, ChristianTalk.life. See you later.
I'm Mike Lindell, inventor of MyPillow. Thanks to your support, you've helped make MyPillow become one of the fastest growing companies in America. Over the last 12 years, you've helped MyPillow create thousands of jobs right here in the USA.
When I got MyPillow, I'm asleep almost immediately. I stay asleep at night and I wake up more well-rested in the morning.
That's why I invented MyPillow. My patented fill adjusts to your exact individual needs and helps keep your neck supported and aligned. I'm interrupting this commercial right now. Retailers have canceled MyPillow, and to thank you for your support, I'm going to pass the savings directly on to you. Go to MyPillow.com right now to get deep discounts on all MyPillow products. For example, you can get my premium MyPillows regularly $69.98, now just $29.98, the lowest price ever.
You go over to our special website, mypillow.vip. Pillows are only $19.95 if you go to mypillow.vip and use the promo code FLS.